Well, U.S. President Donald Trump has said that he has demanded about 7 countries send warships to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. However, his appeals have brought no commitment as oil prices soared during the Iran war. The American president declined to name the countries that his administration is negotiating with to join a coalition to police the waterway. Speaking to reporters on Air Force One, he issued a warning to NATO. Let's listen in.
Remember, like as an example, in many cases, the NATO countries, we're always there for NATO. We're helping them with Ukraine. And many it's got a notion that between us doesn't affect us, but we've helped them. It'd be interesting to see what country wouldn't help us with a very small endeavor, which is just keeping the strait open. And by comparison, it's small because Iran has very little firepower left.
Earlier, in an interview with the Financial Times, Trump said that NATO faces a very bad future if U.S. allies fail to open the strait. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer spoke to the U.S. president, according to Downing Street. They discussed the ongoing situation and the importance of reopening the strait to end the disruption of global shipping. But a report in The Telegraph suggests Starmer is refusing to send warships to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. UK's Energy Secretary Ed Miliband has said that the government was intensively looking at what could be done to open the strait, but refused to offer a firm commitment. France and Germany have also signaled reluctance to answer the U.S. president's demand. But Trump is not giving up. Not only has he warned NATO, but also pressed on China to help in opening the Strait of Hormuz, saying his upcoming summit in Beijing with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping could be delayed. He said he would want to know Beijing's decision before the summit, noting that China, as well as many European countries, rely more than the U.S. on the oil flowing from Gulf.
You go back and look at what I said years ago. I said, why aren't we maintaining the Hormuz Strait when it's really there for China and many other countries? Why aren't they doing it? And that's because we had weak leadership, to be honest with you. But I'm bringing it up now. So I think even long term, I think it's something that other countries should help us with.
And to discuss more on this, we're now being joined by Dr. Rohan Gunaratna, Professor of the Security Studies at S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies, live from Singapore. He's joining us. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. I would like to begin with the situation in Singapore right now. Of course, this closure of the strait has impacted not just the West or West Asia, it has impacted South Asia and Asia as well. And IEA has just announced to release emergency oil reserves to stabilize the global prices. How is Singapore looking at this, and how are they adapting to this change?
Singapore has very long-range planning. In fact, its leaders always invest in what you call horizon scanning, and they prepare for multiple scenarios. The Singapore Prime Minister and the relevant ministries has taken steps to secure the interests of Singapore and also the region. So Singapore is now working not only within its domestic sphere, but also in the region to build a greater stability and security for the region. The Singaporean leaders see this issue as a long-term challenge, and that requires a global and regional response. And as you have very clearly indicated, President Trump is currently trying his best to work with a number of partners, both in the West and also in the Far East, especially with Japan, with Australia, to try to mitigate the challenges that the Americans are facing in the Gulf and in the Middle East.
You mentioned that, of course, he's reaching out, but the thing is that he is warning, rather, he's not reaching out anymore. He did ask for help maybe a day before, but now he's clearly warning these nations to join a coalition to send their ships to the Strait of Hormuz. How do you look at that? Because we have Macron, who has now held direct calls with Pezeshkian. Italy has also indicated that they're talking to Iran. Do you think that this treatment of Trump warning allies to send ships to the Strait of Hormuz, is it pushing away these allies instead of a coalition?
Trump's style of leadership, as you know, and as you have expressed, is very different. So he believes in conflict, confrontation, rather than engaging these nations. I think those leaders understand Trump. And I think that they are all trying to work out a solution where the Gulf countries and the Middle East will return to normalcy. Because I think just addressing the Straits of Hormuz security concerns will not work. We are also witnessing another threat, that is the Houthi leaders in Yemen. Ansar Allah is also threatening now to disrupt the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And if we combine the energy flow from Bab el-Mandeb as well as Hormuz, it is about 30% of the global energy flow. So I believe that there must be a more comprehensive solution to address this challenge in the backdrop of Iran still determined to, with its nuclear missile and drone, as well as the terrorist proxy program.
All right. Of course, that's your perspective on it, because when we look at the history, and there were talks going on, Iran was willing to talk, but it was U.S. who then attacked, like last year as well during negotiations. But on the other hand, you mentioned how Trump is trying to solve the problem, but then he's also saying that I will attack the Kurg island just for fun. These are statements coming from the U.S. president just a day ago. So when he talks about coalition, of bringing this coalition to the Strait of Hormuz, while also saying that he's going to still continue with the attacks, where do you see that he's trying to solve the problem? It only looks like he's elongating it. On the other hand, we have, oil excess. These oil companies executives in U.S. are warning of this prolonged war. Do you think that somehow Trump seems, he's trying to see that, okay, now that if it is escalated, he's trying to bring in the coalition, who have clearly, as of now, denied, including Japan and Australia and France and Italy?
Trump is very confident that the Israelis and the Americans will be able to degrade and dismantle the military capabilities of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps in Iran. But all the assessments indicate that Iran's fighting capabilities have declined very significantly, but still it is able to fight in the long term. It's not able to fire 500 missiles and drones every day now, but still it's able to inflict significant damage, especially in the Gulf countries. So I believe that eventually there must be a resolution to this dispute, and that will come only by Trump working together with allies and partners